Once you have your finished base for your mug done, um, you want to just make sure it's smoothed out. You can use this sponge, moisten it, and if you run this along the sides, you'll see you'll get rid of the texture from the canvas and smooth and polish this. You want to just make sure this is nice and clean and trim any excess off that needs to be trimmed, which this looks pretty okay, but you can trim anything that needs to be taken off. You can also smooth the inside. And the other thing you can do is actually trim the edges here along the top. You can actually use the pedestal. Let me see if I can get a better angle on this. Use the pedestal here and hold this fettling knife like this and just shave off anything that you don't need to keep this lip nice and clean. Okay, now that my cup is all smoothed out, just remember that on a daily basis you want to be actually using less and less moisture. So you're going to use dry or drier paper towels to stuff this, and you're looking to make sure that the walls don't cave in from day to day, or that if somebody accidentally bumps into it. I'm actually going to leave it stuffed while I work. I'm going to be working on the outside and making a design using a new slab. So there's a couple of things I can do. I'm going to show you 3 different things. One is scratching into the clay, which is the easiest. The next will be cutting out a slab and attaching that slab in the shape of Mickey Mouse to the clay. And then the last is the hardest, which will actually be making like a 3D form of Mickey Mouse on the side of my mug. Let's start with a pin tool. So I just want to make sure this is placed on here, and you can just trace this right out. So if you look, I'm going to poke little holes. So it's a little hard. Now if I just push and trace this, I'm probably going to tear my paper and like shift it. So I'm actually almost like a sewing machine going up and down, poking holes and dragging the pin tool across the surface. So when I lift it up, you could see it's making an impression. Okay? So I'm going to do that all the way around. So I did just the outline so far. Okay, that's a drag this through some water, and now I'm going to actually cut out the outline very carefully. Okay, now let's see if this will come up. You could also take some water on your knife and zhuzh this, gently pry this up. Here we go. And before I do anything else, I just want to gently, again, I'm going to wet the pin tool and gently scratch in my design. Okay, now speaking of scratching in, there's one, you can do this for your entire project. Literally just scratch your project design on the side of your mug. I'll show you that in a second. This is the same procedure. This is the same thing. Now, there are these very technical here. They're sort of like boogers that are coming out of here. Look, there's all this debris that you need to clean up. That's the hardest part, actually, of scratching into your clay, because you have to get rid of that. Sometimes it helps to let it dry out a little bit, and then they'll sort of flake off. Or you could get rid of them as you go, which I think it helps. Make sure your lines are nice and neat. So you sort of lift them out of the surface while you work. Scratch. So I'm going to scratch the center here. Now, if you're not sure where it's going to land, you can sort of dry fit it and then see where it lands. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I do want the ears to stick out a little bit. I think that'll be cute. Okay, so let's go a little bit more over here. It's really important that you scratch, wet, and wiggle. So now I'm going to wet it. I'm going to take my sponge and add a little water. And then with my hand in the back like this, I'm going to attach this. So I'm going to lift it up. And here we go. Make sure he's on. Oh, there we go. Oh, I can feel he's suctioning. There we go. Here's my Mickey mug. All right, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to start by drawing some lines. Now, if you were drawing, let's say you were writing directly on here, a poem or something, this is pretty much what you're going to do. This is nice because the clay is much harder, and you could see it's like coming off. The little burrs are coming off, which is good. Okay, you do have to go over your lines a few times, but it's much better than using softer clay. You could see it wipes right off, so that's good. Slabs here, you could just use a big ball of clay here, nice soft clay, and I'm going to start building this up. So I'm going to build up the face first. Just going to mush little pieces like this, start building this up and attaching it. And I'm really just pushing it onto the surface. So everything I just did over here is actually a waste of my time, because I'm really just going to cover this up. So I'm going to take some fine little slabs that I'm just pinching and stick it onto the surface like this. And